A great motto that has become one of my core values is the simple message, be careful what you wish for. It's a favorite phrase of mine that makes me to think twice and a couple of steps ahead before making wishes of certain actions. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. A lot of times it doesn't actually, but it's mostly because I'm an idiot. The reason why I'm saying this is because you all know that the gaming community is indeed toxic. People will say horrendous things and mean words to one another, and unfortunately, there's no concrete solution in how to fix it. The best way to do so is to just accept that this is a widespread hobby that includes many people from different perspectives around the world, especially horrendous people that talk garbage online. And to all of those people who demand certain communities to be 100% inclusive, here's a problem. Not everyone is a saint, and you have to deal with some human beings who are just douchebags by nature. So like I said, be careful what you wish for. But to be fair though, some of the toxicity of the video game community are resulted in things that can be explained. Video games have a state of defeat, and a lot of people are going to be heated up by the time they are defeated in video games, or by the time certain mechanics of video games do not work at them for some reason. A lot of video games are about competition, and a lot of people have the drive and desire not to lose. If they reach the state of defeat, they get pissed. That's why people shout racist slurs or insults to each other. It's not only a way of psychologically manipulating your opponents, but also a way to vent out frustrations. The more insulting the word, the better. This is not only limited to video games actually, any sorts of competition are gonna have people doing this. But since most competitions are happening in a more controlled environment, and video games aren't, of course you will have more and more gamers who are toxic towards each other online. Another thing to keep in mind is that a lot of video games are adrenaline pumping. People want to vent out their stress and frustrations into certain things in video games, in the most colorful ways. Sometimes people will have an entirely different personality when they play video games. They say racist slurs not because they hate people in a certain race, but because it is the most satisfying thing to say at other players at the time. I have said horrendous things when I play video games before, so are a lot of players around the world. It happens. It can happen. And if you try to make it not happen, well, good luck. The idea that video games are stress relievers make people think that they're the same as a massage in a tropical island done by a beautiful model. No, they're not. It's more like a boxing match, especially when gaming is all about the competition. And anyone who has this mindset is either disingenuous or has never played games before. That or they play way too much walking simulators. A great question to ask is the things that you say when you play video games, are those representative of your behaviors in real life? Well, I don't believe that it is. I've seen people who are very passionate in games, but are just chill people in real life. Polygon certainly thinks that this isn't the case, and they just want every chance to demonize gamers as a whole.
There's no heat of the moment in video games. PewDiePie said there was no excuse, but he gave one anyway.
Oh, wow. Way to misinterpret what he said, Polygon. When he said, there's no excuse, what he meant was, there's no excuse that can forgive his behavior. He does have an excuse, but that still doesn't justify what he did. And even then, I disagree because people say horrendous things all the time in video games in the heat of the moment. To say that it doesn't exist means that you either don't know how video games work because you never played them at all, or you are being disingenuous and dishonest, just like every other people in the second camp of reactions towards PewDiePie saying the N-word. That or someone has been playing way too much walking simulators. Whoever is the senior editor or is in charge of this garbage website clearly has zero consistency. Just weeks later, Polygon published this article.
Gamers like PewDiePie are why I don't play online. At a certain point, it's just not worth it anymore.
So, wait, is there a heat in the moment in video games or isn't there? If there isn't, then people wouldn't be toxic online, would it? Or are you trying to say that people being toxic online are just them embracing their natural state? Are you saying that if people are being toxic online, that's just how they are in real life? So video games are like the freaking metaverse, and our online presence is our shadow, a representation of not only our dark, distorted desires, but also a dark side of our own personalities. Huh, that sounds like a Persona game. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, people are complex. To attribute their entire behaviors over the things that they say online is disingenuous. People can say stupid things online, but they can also be really nice people in general. I'm a lot more optimistic in that matter. Some are not, definitely. I believe that some of these people who write dumbass articles, they are good people. That's why I would just rather focus on the ideas instead of the individual. And if they are actually assholes, then I should have at least reasonable basis in why I should call them such. But we all know how Polygon work. They're not gonna stop demonizing gamers in every chance that they have.
I wasn't surprised by PewDiePie's latest racist slip of the tongue. I was surprised at the number of people who were shocked by it. We had the same conversation about the face of YouTube and the limits of jokes half a year ago. We're still pretending outbursts like his are a momentary lapse of judgment and not an accepted use of slurs in online voice chat.
I was actually more surprised at the people who went on the lengths to try to ruin PewDiePie's life thanks to him saying that word. Questionably legal matters even.
Kilberg's mistake wasn't his language. It was the face that he accidentally showed his audience the reality of online games. The ease with which Felix Kilberg dropped a racial slur, mixed with the exasperated, I shouldn't swear in front of my parents way he quickly apologized for it, made perfect sense. That's how a large number of people act online. They just learn to hide it while streaming.
And that brings us to another question. Is he actually racist? Is his true personality a racist individual and that him saying the word is enough for you to make that conclusion? I don't know about you, mate, but I wouldn't call someone racist with just that as a basis. For example, I hate people who use the term people of color unironically because that is very demeaning to actual people of color. That is even more racist than anyone who uses the word nigger, and that is widespread among game journalists. Should I consider someone who used that term racist? Well, even then that depends on the context. I don't use it in the same manner that the game journalists do. Most of game journalists just use people of color as a way to justify victim status, and that is pretty insulting.
Diablo 2 was the first game that I've ever played online. I chose to play as a paladin because he had dark skin, like me, and foreign seems like an effective ability. My chat box was suddenly filled with strange symbols from the barbarian. I didn't know what it meant, but they kept coming. It was honestly kind of funny and strange at first. I didn't have much online experience at 12 years old. Eventually, either out of rage-filled creativity or because he knew about Blizzard's profanity filter, the other player threw this at me. Nigger.
Oh no, somebody said the N-word to you. Like, come on, man. I've had people who tell me that I'm a Muslim pedophile just because I come from Indonesia. I'm not even Muslim, and I despise children. I've had people who call me a sand nigger. I've had people who call me filthy brown. Name me any racist slurs in the book. I've been called everything in the spectrum. At least 90% of people who got called this move on because they knew this is the internet and they can't really stop people from doing the things that they do. I don't know about you though. You're not the sort of person who would move on from these things.
I finally understood what was happening. I knew the word he was reaching for, and I knew that somewhere in this world, someone wanted to make me feel less than human. I logged off shortly after, and never had strong desire to play games online for years.
Oh my god. Look, I know you were 12, and I know PC gaming is still primitive at the time, but did you just log out because somebody said nigger? Dude, I know that nigger is not the most comfortable word on the planet, but you should stop giving it that much ridiculous power. You're giving it the Voldemort treatment, essentially. The moment somebody said the word nigger, you'd throw a goddamn hissy fit and just quit the account. Is that the most effective method of saying fuck off? Are you seriously going to let people treat you like a robot who is given the deactivate command? And this is coming from someone who don't play games online. Mostly because I suck in general.
Looking back, this seemed like the healthy response. We all have our first contact with the horrific things people casually say to each other online, but then so many of us come back. Imagine a restaurant where the staff talk to their customers like that. Would eat there again? Hell, imagine the Yelp reviews.
Wow, so we have a freaking normie on deck. Did you just compare the mean words people say on the internet with waiters serving dinner? That's one hell of an unfair comparison. Waiters are supposed to be polite to their customers so that they can get paid in tips. Do not expect random strangers on the internet to have that same level of courtesy. They will be hateful to anyone, and I've gotten myself a taste of those every day. I try not to give them too much power and control over me, but you clearly did, and that's the wrong thing to do.
Online game will show you how ugly it can be very quickly, and our reaction is usually to return to it again and again. I'm not surprised I left for so long, but these days I'm always a bit rattled by how many people stay.
You can literally mute the chat and voice in pretty much every online game ever and just enjoy the fun. If you want to chat with your teammates, might as well have a separate Discord server exclusively for your mates. You can even overlay it in your game. That's how awesome it is.
I rarely, if ever, thought about the link between my disinterest in online games with voice chat and my race. I knew that I preferred single-player games, and that I had amazing memories playing couch co-op games with my brother, but the same thing happened every time I tried the latest genre-defining online game. Playing Halo 2 on launch weekend, someone called me a dirty nigger within the first few games.
And thousands called me a sand nigger in YouTube comments, and I still make YouTube videos. Your point?
Attempted to play Default of Class in Destiny for the first time after searching subreddits for hours to find the ideal group. The group leader, after quickly explaining our group strategy, threw in a final rule. Don't be a nigger.
Okay, add that to the list of things that definitely never happen. Don't be a nigger? Like, what does that even mean? Have you ever tried to question the mindset of someone who said that with a straight face?
And so on, until it doesn't feel worth it for me to play online. I soloed all of Destiny's content in the main game in Taken King, but I never experienced any of the apparently life-affirming wonder of its raids after that exchange. I uninstalled the game and move on with my life. My experiences with racial slurs online often seem to be the rule, not the exception.
Dude, you're not the only one, okay? You're not special. People in every race have been called every offensive racial slur in the freaking internet. But at least good for you for taking the stance in quitting. It's just that, well, you know that you can just mute people, right?
This is how Kilberg can drop the slur casually and be completely unchallenged by his friend on the stream. The toxic soup of general voice chat is self-selecting. It's the default state of gamer chat at the most accessible level. Only those willing to share or accept the base level of hateful language remain. Everyone else likes to leave. Can you blame us?
Actually, no. This is just how video game culture works when you play video games. That's actually true to the internet culture as well. You will shout insults and hateful things if you lose in matches, or your teammates do stupid things, or maybe even other things that you cannot comprehend. I don't know why you are surprised by this. If you leave, good, leave. Clearly you have no power to control the community and nobody wants you to take control. Either we let the gamers just shout insults on the internet because we can't really stop them, or have an authoritarian force that ban people for doing so, which will result in a slippery slope that would probably result in everyone being banned, especially since gaming communities are worldwide. So might as well have a mute button to everything. That solves it. Again, if you try to be 100% inclusive, you are also going to include the douchebags in the room. So be careful what you wish for.
Also, did you ever notice our collective absence? Or did you just accept the mutually agreed upon level of conversation as the cost of doing business? If you heard this language and said nothing, how much responsibility do you take for how bad things have become?
We didn't say nothing. We just couldn't really find a way to solve this issue. If you find a way to solve this online toxicity issue, good for you. I want people to even suggest their own solutions in order how to fix these toxic online communities. If you found that solution, you're able to fix it to the point where everyone is nice and things are just hunky-dory, I would vote you if you run for president. But for now, we don't have a solution and we can't do anything because there's nothing that we can do. If you ask me, the best thing that we can do is just to behave ourselves, ignore the online trolls and hate, and focus on the people who just love you and care for you. And of course, mute the freaking chats.
The problem isn't even the people saying these things. Not entirely. The bigger problem is that the systems and general audience for these games are taught to tolerate it, and soon, they're not just tolerating it, they find it normal. And once it's normal, it's okay to take part, and anyone who is rightfully upset or opposed to it is accused of upsetting the status quo. So here we are.
Yeah, you're right. I would be lying if I say that I don't tolerate some of these toxic online behaviors, but honestly, I don't really tolerate those on the basis that they are okay to do. I tolerate them because there's honestly nothing that we can do to fix it. It's just how things are, and any attempt in trying to fix it have failed. So maybe you guys can suggest any possible solution, because as someone who has experienced toxicity online everywhere, I don't know any good solution that can fix this entire mess other than trying to control yourself, or just mute everybody, or just don't go online in general. It's just one of the many risks that we have to take when technology have opened ourselves to more interaction with people around the world. Again, not everyone is a saint, and I don't say that because it's a pessimistic mindset. I say that because people are sometimes way too optimistic and faithful, unrealistically so.
To exist as a minority online is to have your resilience constantly called into question, as if communicating on social media and wanting to play games with friends and strangers should require deep reservoirs of endurance and strengths. I'm told that I need to toughen up when I complain about the unending hate speech in online gaming. It's the internet, what did I expect? We're always being asked to accept racial abuse by people who have no intention of changing the status quo.
Okay, how are you going to change it then? Stop saying the N-word? Impossible. You can see how that worked out. We need a concrete solution in fixing this community, and so far, your proposal is just to leave. Okay, good. Leave. Leave like Gordon Ramsay leaving the Amy's Baking Company. If you think that we're too far gone and that we can't be fixed, leave. If you cannot provide any concrete solutions in how to fix this toxic community, then please, by all means, leave. This community is not meant to be 100% inclusive. And if you try to make it that way, it will also include people that say nigger, nigger, nigger. So be careful what you wish for. And not everyone is a freaking saint.
I would absolutely love to play Destiny 2. It sounds fun. I love how Bungie shooters feel, and I had a blast during my solo Warlock run at the first game. But if my choice is between playing the better part of $100 to have slurs yelled at me by strangers, or enjoying one of my many other entertainment options, I'll choose the latter. And I'm not alone, and this isn't just a gaming issue.
So between playing Destiny 2 and not be shouted out by random strangers, you chose to not be shouted at by random strangers. You know that you can get both, right? Just turn off the voice in the chat. Like, as far as I know, you can do that in Destiny, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I hope it can. Otherwise, damn, that game is crap.
Supporting small business is important, but Amazon won't ask you if you're buying X-Men for your boyfriend every week. I've lost count of the women I know who stopped going to comic shops after being hit on or patronized too many times.
Okay, to those women, if you truly enjoy the hobbies that you do, you would not quit thanks to a couple of people trying to hit you or being patronized at. You would still go to comics, buy them, and tell these idiots to go fuck themselves. If you truly enjoy anime, you wouldn't quit thanks to people shouting weebs at you. If you truly enjoy video games, you wouldn't just quit thanks to your parents saying that it's satanic or feminists saying that it's sexist and misogynistic. If you quit thanks to these people, you're not a fan. You're just a pretender.
This is how fandoms and hobbies lose cultural momentum. This is a market-driven medium. More games sold means more players to play with, as well as more revenue going to the developers of the art you enjoy. Everyone wins, and all you have to do is to play nice with others. But the attitude seems to be that the right to abuse others is more important than the health of our hobby.
Look, voice chats are toxic and cancerous. YouTube comments are toxic and cancerous as well. That's why I rarely visit them, especially in the way they're formatted now, which is goddamn awful. If you want a healthy online environment, please do give me a concrete solution in how to fix this, because every solution that has been applied to fix this issue involves an insane level of power abuse by the moderators. That didn't fix anything. That only made things worse.
There are no comforting words in this situation. How do you tell someone that this is going to continue no matter what game they play? How do you argue that they should stay in that environment? Why would someone want to?
I would tell them to just mute the voice chat and ignore everybody in the game. Simple. Everyone does that, so why don't you?
The industry has to decide whether pushing so many people offline is a loss it can accept. It has to look at how many people may not feel welcome online at all, and whether it's worth trying to get those people back as customers. I'm not holding my breath.
Seriously, how are you going to fix this issue of toxicity in the gaming community? How are you going to fix the online trolls that are harassing people? If you don't have any solution to this, then I suggest you to leave this community to be what it is and let it rot or let it grow. I don't know. The gaming community isn't perfect. We know that. So many parts of the internet are toxic and we don't have the power to fix them. That's because we as human beings do not have control over other people's personalities and actions. We should just accept that people are different and some will have horrendous personalities or just be antisocial in general. And if you're one of those people who want certain communities to be 100% inclusive, well, not everyone is a saint. And those people that you try to insert in certain communities, they will have a huge chance of increasing the toxicity and making things a hell of a lot worse for everyone. Be careful what you wish for. Still, this article does raise an interesting question about online communities. Is there truly a way to fix them? If you guys have any solution to this, let me know in the comments down below. Before we end this video, huge thanks to Kyle Summons for the pledge on Patreon. You are fantastic. That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead, click the like button, and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can support me on Patreon. And thanks for watching.